Adaptogens have become increasingly popular within discussions about natural health. They are frequently associated with stress support, resilience, energy, and overall well-being. At the same time, adaptogens are often described in ways that create confusion. Some presentations make them sound almost magical. Others dismiss them entirely. As a result, many people are left wondering what adaptogens actually are and what they realistically do. In this discussion, attention will be given to the concept of adaptogens, how they are understood within natural health traditions, and why they are often associated with the body's response to stress. Let us begin with a simple observation. The human body is constantly adapting. Changes in sleep, workload, physical activity, nutrition, and environment all require physiological adjustment. This process of adjustment is one of the body's most important survival mechanisms. Without adaptation, maintaining balance would be difficult. Adaptogens derive their name from this idea. The term refers to substances that are believed to support the body's ability to adapt to various forms of stress and demand. This is where misunderstanding sometimes begins. Adaptogens are not typically viewed as stimulants, nor are they usually viewed as sedatives. Instead, they are often described as supporting regulation. That distinction is important. The goal is not necessarily to push the body in one direction. The goal is to support balance within systems already attempting to adapt. Now, stress deserves attention here. When people hear the word stress, emotional pressure often comes to mind. However, the body experiences stress in many forms. Poor sleep creates stress, illness creates stress, excessive training creates stress, nutritional deficiencies create stress, significant life changes create stress. The body responds to all of these challenges through interconnected regulatory systems. What begins to emerge is a broader understanding of resilience. Resilience is not simply about tolerating pressure. It is about adapting and recovering effectively. This helps explain why adaptogens are often discussed within the context of stress support. Historically, several herbs have been classified as adaptogens within traditional systems of medicine. Examples frequently discussed include rhodiola, ashwagandha, ginseng, schisandra. Each has its own history, traditional use, and research profile. At the same time, it is useful to avoid viewing all adaptogens as identical. They are grouped together because of shared concepts rather than identical actions. This is often overlooked. People sometimes assume that if two substances are called adaptogens, they must work in exactly the same way. In reality, biological systems are rarely that simple. Different herbs contain different compounds. Different compounds interact with the body differently. This changes how adaptogens should be understood. Rather than viewing them as interchangeable, it may be more accurate to view them as members of a broader category. Now, another important point deserves attention. Adaptogens are not generally intended to replace foundational health practices. This holds more significance than it may initially appear. Sleep remains important, nutrition remains important, movement remains important, recovery remains important. Adaptogens are often discussed as supportive tools rather than substitutes for those foundations. This perspective helps create realistic expectations. In many areas of health, disappointment occurs when expectations exceed what a strategy is designed to provide. Understanding the intended role of adaptogens helps reduce that mismatch. They may support adaptation. They may support resilience. They do not eliminate the need for healthy systems. It is worth pausing here. One of the recurring themes within naturopathy is context. The same principle applies here. Individual responses vary. Lifestyle patterns vary. Health conditions vary. For this reason, experiences with adaptogens may differ from person to person. This does not necessarily mean one person is correct and another is incorrect. It simply reflects biological variation. Now, this discussion is not intended to recommend specific herbs. The purpose is understanding. Understanding creates a stronger foundation for future decisions. When concepts are understood first, products become easier to evaluate later. This brings us back to the central idea. Adaptogens are best understood as substances associated with supporting the body's adaptive processes. Their role is often linked to resilience, regulation, and recovery, rather than quick stimulation or immediate transformation. Understanding this creates a calmer and more realistic perspective. Future discussions will explore individual herbs in greater detail while continuing to emphasize safety, context, and practical understanding.